The other day I made this post on Reddit, where I asked which league is the most underrated in Football Manager. Quite a lot of people joined the conversation, and the most popular answers were places like Portugal, Belgium, Brazil, Poland, or any Scandinavian league. But then I looked at all of those answers and thought, how is Portugal underrated, mate? So I'll take this matter into my own hands. I initially gave my own comment under this post, claiming the most underrated league is the Slovak league. The reasons I gave were pretty valid, but I think the real answer is a bit different. So it's time to reveal it to you. But to find it out, for just a short minute, we have to go back to Football Manager 2024. That's because in that game, I took on the Ultimate Glory Hunter Challenge, where I tried to win every single European league. Safe to say I did not. Far from it. But we went on to win in 11 countries. Out of those 11 leagues, I've had the most fun playing in Kazakhstan, Poland, and today's destination, where we played for 2.5 seasons and had quite an experience with a golden generation in our club, as well as 2 insane battles for Europe and the title. Which league am I talking about? I'm talking about Bulgaria. Today, we're going to take charge of a Bulgarian club, Arda Kardzhali, and manage them for 5 seasons. In this video, we want to guide Arda to the first ever league title, develop at least one wonder kid for either a big transfer abroad or the first team, and go to the knockout stages in Europe. How much can we achieve in those 5 years? Give your predictions in the comments down below. And now, let's dive in. But before we start our adventure for proper, I'll give you some information about our club and league. Kardzhali is a town of over 40,000 people in the Rhodope mountains of Thrace in the south of Bulgaria. But most of its population is not even Bulgarian. It's Turkish, and the club is an extension of that culture. The most recent decade brought the biggest success to the team. Arda finished the league in 4th place twice and reached the Bulgarian Cup final in 2021. But they're far from being the best in the country, as the Bulgarian league is absolutely dominated by Ludogorets Razgrad, although it might be over this season. The recent success allowed Arda to compete in the Conference League qualifiers, and this season they even reached the final qualifying round. There, Arda played Raków Częstochowa of Poland. The games itself weren't that dramatic. Raków narrowly won both times and went to the league stage. But the main story happened on Twitter. Arda Kardzhali's social media manager is overall a very kind man, and the club became extremely friendly with the fans of Raków. Even now, the clubs and fans interact with each other, and also Arda accidentally keeps ratioing Kraków, which is pretty funny. Literally, this is the first friendship between fans of different clubs I've seen form on the internet. And so, this is why I've chosen to manage them. With everything covered, let's go into the safe and meet our team. Our side has players from all age ranges. On one side, we've got players as young as a 16-year-old defensive midfielder Burak Akanza, who we will try to develop for at least the first team. On the other, we've got a veteran with 90 caps for Bulgaria, an attacking midfielder Ivelin Popov, who is retiring after this season, or Emil Vijacki, a 35-year-old centre-back who is brave, determined, and also has great physical ability. But on our team, we can also meet the players who will be crucial throughout our entire adventure in Kardzhali. These players are a tall striker Georgi Nikolov or a quick winger Svetoslav Kovacev. So the next thing I did was setting up a tactic. I went for a bit of a tiki-taka, relying on short passing. When we lose the ball, however, we go high up the pitch to tackle the ball quickly. The formation I went with? A 4-2-3-1, which will cover every area of the pitch and let Popov shine in his final season. However, many players are either approaching or well into their 30s. And we also had some missing slots in our squad, which means we will have to make a massive rebuild. If not now, we'll make it before the second season. We only got 100,000 euros of a transfer budget, but that didn't stop me from taking some action already. My first order of business was to fill up the staff, just like in every single save. But we just couldn't make any moves. The players were either way too expensive or simply not interested. And with a couple of injuries, we were in a critical situation. This raises an obvious question. How did we start our season? Our board wants us to try our best in Europe and finish the league in the top 6, exactly where we are predicted to finish. And we want to prove we will be among the country's best. It's time for our debut against PFK Dobrudza. Passes it to Nikolov, Popov, Nikolov. Brilliant sequence. Shinyashiki, after a deflection, opens up the scoring for us. Gustavo Cascardo has an opportunity to get past the opponent, makes a strike, and doubles our lead. Finds Mikhailov, who's in the penalty area, has to pass it back to Silva. A pass to the left side. Leoni, after a deflection, scores. It goes down as he goes on goal. He finds Kabov on the left side, just make it happen. Brilliant. 3-1 for us. It was a very comfortable win to start the first season with. a start that was pretty shaky. We could win 4-1 over Lokomotiv Sofia, only to then get demolished 5-1 by Slavia Sofia. We may only be 10th after 6 match days, but we have a game or two in hand over everyone but Levski and Ludogorets. We also got to finally make moves on the transfer market. To be exact, 2 loans. Elef Bakhtiarno Milimonov from Spartak Varna and a defensive midfielder Enrique Joku from Botev Plovdiv. But there is one more competition we're playing in, the UEFA Conference League. We started our European journey in the second qualifying round against Larne from Northern Ireland. We played the first match at home, and despite a little bit of trouble, we won 4-2. Although we lost the away leg 2-1, we still progressed. Our next opponents were Sheriff Tiraspol from Moldova. In Moldova, we are already losing 2-0 after 13 minutes, but somehow we came back and finished the first leg with a 5-4 win. At our home, we added one more goal to win both legs and match the real-life achievement. However, it looks like this might be over for us, because our opponents in the 4th round are RC Strasbourg from Ligue 1. Even a single draw will be an upset here. Barco gets the ball, makes a strike. Thankfully our keeper is there to stop it, but the ball goes back to our area. We kick it out, and now Velev, a right back, is there on the right side of the pitch, very high up there. No one is there to support him, although we should be having someone in the penalty area already. The Ukrainian, still by the byline, will be looking for a pass back to Shinyashiki, who gives us the leading goal over Strasbourg. Firm favourites, to say the least. But they send the long ball to Panikeli. It's an instant equalizer. I mean, quite expected, but why would you just let him go behind your back? Now going to the left side. Panikeli gets another chance. Gospodinov takes control, catches it easily. I did not even think we could even scrape a draw from this game, but somehow we're in a situation where we could genuinely qualify for a European League stage. However, our injury crisis was beyond a disaster, so I expected nothing from the second match. Chilwell gets the cross to the far post, Paes wins this header, hits the crossbar. Chilwell with a corner, and that corner finds Mamadou Sarr. Gospodinov to Eboa, who makes a terrible pass to Kotev. Kendry Paes makes a strike, hits the crossbar again. It's not looking good so far. Chilwell delivers a cross. Sarr with another header, as Davidovic scores for a 3-0. We just keep losing in the corners. We knew we didn't have much of a chance to win it anyway, and when you look at the stats, the 3-0 loss seems to be an underwhelming result for Strasbourg. Thankfully, with an international break, most of the injured players returned, and we could take on Ludogorets without experimenting on the lineup. Goes back to Popov, who makes a cut inside with a strike! What a goal into the top bins! We take the lead over Ludogorets. Velkovski. Shinyashiki with a strike! And this is the second goal tonight for us! What a win! But then I looked at the standings after the first round of games. Our victory wasn't that sensational. We're only 2 points behind Ludogorets, albeit they have 2 games in hand, and the dominant force is only 4th, while we're 6th. We've had some big moments in this round, such as winning 6-1 against currently 2nd CSKA 1948, or a 2-0 to 2-all comeback against Botev Plovdiv. But at the same time, we cannot win over relegation-threatened PFK Montana or Septemvri Sofia. Overall, it's a decent round so far, but we need to be more consistent if we want to qualify for Europe, because the title fight right now is far, far away from us. And would you look at that? Levski Sofia, who are dominating the league so far, are our very next opponents. We played them twice in the space of a month. In the first match, we took the lead after an own goal, but coming into the second half, Levski woke up. Marin Petkov scored 2 goals and added an assist to help Levski reverse the result and win. But at our home, it was different. Ivelin Popov, our attacking midfielder, is retiring after this season, so this campaign is his last dance as a player. And what a last dance he has so far. He gave a hat-trick of assists in just 35 minutes. Svetoslav Kovacev added this worldie, and we are leading 4-1 in just 44 minutes. If only the rest of the team could play football. Yes, Levski came back, and the game finished at 4-all. Thankfully, between those 2 Levski games, we also got a draw against Dobruca and 2 wins over Slavia Sofia and Beroe Stara Zagora. So we entered the winter break in 5th. Now, Ludogorets is catching up to Levski, so at this moment, it looks like we are at most fighting for 3rd, with about half the league wanting to get to this position. We also took part in the Bulgarian Cup, which is a simple knockout tournament. After getting past Lovech from the 3rd tier, we took on Ludogorets, although we drew them during the match itself. In the penalty shootout, Georgi Nikolov missed. and we were unfortunately knocked out. We knew that with a bunch of aging players in our squad, we had to make some transfers. We had to make sure that we have people to take over once the likes of Popov retire. And so, I first secured a contract for Berna, a Portuguese attacking midfielder from Spartak Varna. He will join us during the second season, just like Kaloyan Kostov, a centre-back from Lokomotiv Plovdiv. Without any new players right now, we resumed play in the Bulgarian league. We started by demolishing Botev Vraca 6-1 and then drawing to Lokomotiv Sofia and Botev Plovdiv, right before a crucial game against Ludogorets. We were in contention for third place, just like half of the league. Yes, the gap between third and ninth is just 4 points. In this match, we took the lead thanks to Svetoslav Kovacev, but Bernard Tekpete, Ludogorets' left winger, had a brilliant second half, scoring a hat-trick and not giving us a chance. This shaky run of form continued, as in the next 3, we only won over CSK in 1948. This means, with 3 games to go in the regular season, we're still in the fight for the top 6, but we have to win all 3 matches to have a chance to get there. First was Septemvri Sofia, and we started first by conceding a penalty. Brilliant. Chiniashiki at least equalized in the second half, but that is not enough. Just take seemingly a 3-1 win over Lokomotiv Plovdiv, because after Antonio Vutov scored a penalty in the 73rd, we of course conceded 2 goals in less than 5 minutes and let slip another victory. And with it, we let slip our chance to finish in the top 6, despite winning over Chernomore Varna. Why was the top 6 important? Because after a regular season, where each team plays each other twice, the Bulgarian league is split into 3 groups: the championship group, the second phase, and the relegation stage. Now it would be true that we bottled the chance to qualify for the championship group, because the rules were that the top 6 qualified there. But the Bulgarian league will be reduced from 16 to 14 teams from the very next season, so now only the top 4 go there. The teams from 5th to 8th qualify to the second phase, the winner of which will get a chance to contest for Europe, and the bottom 8 are thrown into the relegation group, from which the bottom 3 will go down. We will play each of those 4 teams twice, and it looks like we still have a chance to finish this season in the top 6 and maybe go to Europe. Like I said in this video already, this is the last season for Ivelin Popov, so let's give him the last dance he would have wanted. He also would like you to subscribe to my channel. Only 20% of you do so once again, I'll be happy to see you subscribing. We won the first game in the group against Spartak Varna, in which Popov gave an assist. He also scored a brace against CSK in 1948, in a game which ended with a 3-0 draw. He did not stop there, as Ivelin also added a goal in a 2-0 win over Chernomore Varna, an assist in another draw against CSKA, a brace in a 2-0 draw against Spartak Varna, and in the final game of his career, Ivelin Popov scored the winning goal against Chernomore Varna. This run of form helped us finish the league in 6th place. We did not accomplish our goal to qualify for Europe, but it was overall a positive campaign. Levski Sofia broke the dominant spell of Ludogorets and won their first league title since 2009. Going down are Beroe Stara Zagora, Montana and Dobrudza. In all competitions this season, Ivelin scored 18 goals and added 16 assists. He had a season so great, I decided to ask him to stay for another campaign. But he thought this season was a great send-off and confirmed his retirement. His next job, the manager of Arda Kardzhali's B team. At the end of March, we also had a youth intake, a crucial part in reaching one of our goals. The problem is, the only interesting player we've had in this intake was Boris Chaliskan. And he is unambitious and also not even that talented. Atanas Karadachki, as well as Serdar Keshkin, could also turn into having some role in the future. So I guess we're moving our hopes and dreams of developing a wonder kid towards Season 2. For Season 2, my plan is very simple. I want to completely reshape the squad and get a podium finish. And there is a reason to do just that. 1. We do not have any European football this year, so all focus is on the league. And 2. The board gave us almost €1 million in the transfer budget. Of course, I moved some of it to the scouting department, so we can look for talent in the entire Europe. We also got a new contract, which I gladly accepted. With all this in mind, we will finally be able to build the team we want. First off, we welcomed Berna and Kaloyan Kostov, who we signed during the winter. Then I looked at the squad and I knew we had to sign a goalkeeper, a left back and a defensive midfielder. At left back, we signed Andrei Yordanov from Botev Plovdiv for €145,000. I also signed 2 young Bulgarians at centre back. Stanislav Yovkov, permanently from Beroe Stara Zagora for €110,000, and Simeon Shishkov, who comes for a loan from Ludogorets. Another loan is Borislav Rupanov, a striker who came from Levski Sofia. When it comes to sales, we said goodbye to Atanas Kabov, who went to Çorum FK in Turkey for €120,000, Felix Eboa, who went to Zira FK in Azerbaijan for a total of €625,000, and Patrik Kluan, who went to Chernomore Varna for a total of €150,000. All so we could afford Him, Michał Rachasan, a 19-year-old goalkeeper from CFR Cluj, who has loads of potential. He cost us 1.6 million euros, which is by far our club's transfer record. Starting from this season, the league is reduced to 14 teams, and even in this reduced league, we are again predicted to finish in the mid-table. But our goal does not change. We want to challenge for a podium finish. How well can we play this season? Let's find out. Our first opponents are CSK in 1948, and let me just say it, we were absolutely destroying them in every single stat. But guess who scored the goal? CSK in 1948! At least it was offside. But seriously, the amount of wasted chances I saw was making me feel pain. And what's worse is that in the 89th minute, CSK were given a penalty and converted it. Being FM'd in the season opener is the worst possible scenario. And what's even worse, this happened in 5 matches in a row. We dominated our opponents in every match. And out of it, we got 1 point. 1 point! See, this is a like, by the way. You can like this video to help me go through this pain. Thanks. Genuinely, I don't know what's going on. And I did not have a good feeling ahead of the match against Ludogorets Razgrad. Kovacev to Berna, back to Kovacek. Berna with a strike, misses it. He's going down the right wing and he's chasing down the goal. Or a penalty. I just hope Rachasan makes a save. He does not, of course, even though the ball was going straight to him. Vutov down the right wing. We'll be looking for a tap into Nikolov. We barely even scored that. It's an advantage of Ludogorets. Eric Marcus with an opportunity. Top corner. Tekpete. Bilej. Third. Bilej gets in behind. Ido did not completely control him at all. He just let him go, because why not? Why would I defend? This might officially be the lowest point of this rebuild. If we don't sort ourselves out, this video may as well be over. Seriously, only a random win can save our season at this point. But against CSKA Sofia, we don't have much chance to do that. In the stats, we obviously dominated. And we won? We won 4-0? Sure, a red card for CSK's Lapena did help, but we finally hosted our own show, and the game could not stop it. I thought this was a random unexpected win, but turns out we won. We won 6 games in a row. From the danger of going down and getting sacked, we suddenly turned our attention to a fight for the top 4. The highlight of the bunch was the game against Lokomotiv Sofia. We were leading 3-2 into the stoppage time, but conceded a 92nd minute equalizer. But in the 95th minute, Georgi Nikolov saved the day and stole back the precious victory. And I may have found out why we suddenly started winning. At the start of the season, as usual, we were pressing high up the pitch, leading to runs behind our backs and easy goals for the opponents. But after a match against Ludogorets, I decided to drop our backline and started to use medium pressing, which instantly worked. What's more, it kept working, because what we did next was win the next 3 games. The only losses we suffered before the winter break were against Levski Sofia and CSKA Sofia. We also added a draw against Botev Plovdiv, and with it, we entered the winter break on a very promising 6th place. If we manage this season well, we may look forward to establishing ourselves in this place. It would be absolutely perfect if we did not let Strumska Slava win in the Bulgarian Cup, knocking us out in the first round. In the winter transfer window, Birset Karagaren went to a Russian team Torpedo for 60,000 euros. I also had to find a new backup striker, as Levski Sofia recalled Rubanov from the loan. So we brought in 2 loans, Axel Velev from Lokomotiv Plovdiv and Mark Emilio Papazov from CSKA Sofia. He was also recalled. I also changed my backup keeper. Anatoly Gospodinov went to Chernomore Varna, and in his place, we got a free agent, Lautaro Lopez from Argentina. The final transfer was an end-of-contract signing of the right-back Martin Stoichev from CSKA Sofia. We returned to action early January with a match against Ludogorets. In it, we were on course to get an upset win, but a late goal from Ludogorets' Ivanov decided the result, and it was a draw. However, the only other draw we had was against Spartak Varna. Every other game was our victory all over again, with wins over the likes of Lokomotiv Sofia, Botev Wraca, Lokomotiv Plovdiv, where we turned around a sure loss of an 89th minute equalizer and the 94th minute winner. Genuinely, we had an amazing run of form, but even with it, we missed out on the championship group. Despite winning the final match against Levski Sofia, we only finished the preliminary phase on 5th. So although we technically failed to accomplish this season's goal, we could still qualify to Europe through the back door. We just have to win our group, called the second phase. Even though we weren't ideal, partially due to me letting youngsters start, we still walked our way to win this group. This means we will play in the European Place playoff against third Levski Sofia. I did not expect to be in this situation after the first few games of the season, but now it's possible. We can qualify for European football. We just have to beat one of the most historic teams in the country. Kovacev has a chance on the right wing. He's on a 1v1. He has a chance. He scores a goal for 1-0. We're taking the lead in the European places playoff. Everton Bayer has a chance. Gets past our defender and unfortunately makes an equalizer. Makes a pass to Nikolov to the middle. Shiniashiki again to the right wing. This time it's Cascardo there by the byline. We'll be looking for a cross. Even tried to win a penalty here. Berna makes a header to Nikolov, who gives us the lead again. Kovacev gets to it first though, ahead of Mitkov. And sends Berna on the left side of the pitch. There's a defender in front of him. He gets past him. Berna has a chance to make it free. He does! We did it. We qualified for Europe for the first time in this safe. We will play in the Conference League qualifiers and I hope we won't stop there. We had a fantastic comeback after a disastrous start, and our qualification for Europe was truly deserved. So although we did not finish on the podium as we wanted, we got something much more important. But one question you might have is, who won the league? Botev Plovdiv. This league is truly carnage. Ludogorets only finished 4th, so their manager Rui Mota. This season was very positive overall, and it had a cherry on top. Let's look again at this 5-year rebuild's goals. We want to win the league, go to European knockouts, and develop a wonderkid to either become our star or get a huge transfer abroad. One of those wonderkids is Kostadin Akalski, an attacking midfielder. He has 2 competitors for this position. Ferhat Isdemir and Mesut Yapici will both look forward to also breaking into the starting 11. And they're already in my plans for the very next season. In Season 3, I want to qualify for Europe again, but this time through the Championship group and not the playoff. In Europe, we want to at least match the result we had in our first season. We've been given 600,000 euros of a transfer budget, which is not enough to sign 3 players we urgently need. A left back, a center back, a striker, and a defensive midfielder would be nice. And so, we first reunited with Enrique Joku, whose contract at Botev Plovdiv was running out. Then I also brought in Viktorio Valkov from Beroe Stara Zagora for $500,000. Martin Stojcev joined the club to be a new right back, as Gustavo Cascardo went for a loan to Ordabasy Shymkent. At left back, we replaced Dimitar Velkovski with Nenad Nikic, a Bosniak free agent. And up front, we welcomed Miroslav Marinov from Fratia in the 2nd division. So for this season, I again set a podium finish as my goal. But you know what? History loves to repeat itself. We kept getting FM'd, and our first win came only 5 matches in a dominant 4-1 display against Lokomotiv Sofia. The other win we got later on was against Botev Plovdiv. At the start of the season, we're 11th, which again is very low, but we're not far off from even the European fight. But the league is not the only competition we're playing in this year. We qualified for the Conference League, and our goal is to at least match the performance from the first season, the 4th qualifying round. We're starting from the 1st qualifying round, and our first opponents are FK Auda from Latvia. In Latvia we got a draw, but a 3-1 win at our home helped us progress. We then played Dilagori from Georgia, who we drew 2-all at home. Anyway, we lost 1-0. Yup, we lost to a team from Georgia in the early European qualifiers. Brilliant! I just failed my goal! Again! And what's worse, in the league, the losing did not stop. We could not even win over newly promoted Beroe Stara Zagora, all while using the exact same tactic as last year. This disaster is happening again. But what can I do? Call a team meeting? Change some instructions? Call a friendly or 2, which we lost anyway? With the pressure of getting sacked? Well, I guess we're just going to play Septemvri Sofia and wait for the inevitable. But turns out we won. We also achieved a win over CSK Sofia, although I must admit we had some generational luck. Against Lokomotiv Plovdiv, we came back from a 2-0 deficit. But it's not like we bottled a win against rock bottom Dobrudza with a 94th minute equalizer. And if you think we at least were on the way upwards, well, we lost against the 2nd division side in the cup. And in the league, despite taking the lead over CSK in 1948, we lost 5-3. And you guessed it, this is the first and hopefully last time we meet with a bot. It's not my fault that something that worked last year suddenly stopped working. Thankfully, the bot gives us the benefit of the doubt. But guys, only a miracle can save our season now. Hopefully, against Botev Wraca, we will witness the first of miracles. Martin Petkov gets past Nikic, makes a tap and cross. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? Did you not see Stojcev having acres of space? Akalski has a chance. A 16-year-old shows you how to score. Well, if you want to count Akalski's goal as the miracle, so be it. But we cannot rely on a 16-year-old who's got 1.5 stars of current ability. And against Chernomore Varna, it unfortunately showed. João Pedro, of course, to an empty net. João Pedro, of course, gets past the defender. Of course, gets an easy goal. Easy goal. 3-0 at this. I don't even want to watch the highlight. I'm just telling you right now, this is my state. We discuss with about what? How much did we lose? 3-1, of course. I knew this was going to be a goal, so I simulated it. But just weren't good enough. This situation is only getting worse and worse. And I had no expectations before the match against Botev Plovdiv. And this is going to end in a goal. I'm just going to wait. Mitkov. Well, this is a goal. And now Yordanov has given the ball away. He's just given the ball away. Have you seen that? That was... Yordanov. Still Yordanov. He can show something that at least in the attacking department he can do. He scores. Everyone just had loads of space. Nikic. Nikolov somehow finds it up. And Belev. Still going. Offside. I knew it. We somehow salvaged a hard-fought draw. But seriously, if Nikolov wasn't there to score the rebounds, we'd be out of the club. Hopefully, we'll steer the ship into the right direction against Lokomotiv Sofia. We're already in their penalty area. Shiniashiki with a chance. Vutov gets the rebound. That's 1-0 for us. Krysenyov with another cross. Shiniashiki. Close range. Header. That's 2-0. We won a football match. We actually won a football match. And hopefully, this marks the end of the crisis we've had, and after the winter break, we just shoot up the table. The winter break only lasted 2 weeks, because still in December, we were thrown into an away match against Levski Sofia, and I genuinely prayed the most recent win wasn't a lucky one. Because of the tempo, because Mitkov gets this rebound to Fernandes. If they score this, it's over. It is over. This loss was, let's be real, expected. With the winter break at full swing now, we had to look for a player or two who could save our season. But we first had to sell some, like Gustavo Cascardo to Beijing 1 for 700k, or Ivan Tilev to Levski Sofia for 185k. Lautaro Lopez went to Argentina for 51,000, and we instantly replaced him with Ganin Grigorov from PFK Dobrudza. In the backline, I secured Ivan Turico from CSK Sofia for the new season, and loaned in Simeon Sanev from Paderborn. The latter will replace Daniel Ito'u, who went to Russia. I also decided to improve us up front with Denis Shostak from Alexandria and Luciano Cosentino, a Uruguayan free agent. I have genuine hope these new signings will steer us away from this disaster of a season so far. And they start with a crucial test against Lokomotiv Plovdiv, who are involved in a huge fight for the final slot in the mid-table group. A match where the new signings did not impress, but also a match saved in the 93rd minute by Andrzej Shiniashiki scoring a wonderful winner. We also added wins over Slavia Sofia and Beroe Stara Zagora. But if you thought this is a genuine rise of form, again, you'd be horribly wrong. I did expect us to lose to Ludogorets Razgrad, but not after Nikola's goal in the 4th minute. We are also demolished against Septemvri Sofia, and this means our situation is outright diabolical. If we want to save our season and avoid the relegation group, we have to win over CSK Sofia. Stoichev is in the penalty area, makes a pass for a tap, and Nikolov unfortunately stopped by the keeper. Makes a pass to Delova, and I'm afraid this will go in, but wide to the near post. Makes a pass back to Kovachev. You literally had it on the left foot. Look how much space we've left on the medium pressing. This is why we keep losing. There is no other explanation to this. Stoichev. A cross onto the head of Shiniashiki, who hits the post. Vutov, Marinov, another crossbar. You know what? I can't even begin to explain how terrible we are. Just look at the chances we wasted in this match. If we just knew how to score goals, I would imagine we're at least getting a European slot this season. But the relegation group it is, which we have to win. And it wouldn't save our season anyway. Guess what? We did not lose a single match. Of course, our relegation group consisted of 3 draws and 2 wins, but it was more than enough to easily secure the 9th place in the league. Who won the whole thing though? Ludogorets Razgrad are back on top, just 3 points in front of Levski Sofia. In the youth intake, the only somewhat interesting players were Plamen Vankov and Gurol Bayram, but I don't think they will help us achieve the goal of developing a wonderkid. So let's move into season 4. Hopefully, a much better season. Because just the fact we kept our job is fantastic enough. It's finally time to recover from the disaster of the third season. But honestly, I do not have any expectations whatsoever. Ideally, I'd see ourselves qualify for Europe, but even the second phase would be nice. And I had to rebuild our squad, which will be challenging with only 300,000 in the budget. So let's start with the sales. We released Dimitar Velkovski, sold Serkan Yusein to Turkey and Vyacheslav Velev to Ukraine for 150k each, as well as Lachezar Kotev, who went to Botev Plovdiv for 350,000, and Antonio Vutov, who traveled to Lokomotiv Plovdiv on the deadline day. We also made a big sale of Mikhail Rachasan to Sivasspor for a total of 1.4 million. This man single-handedly made our rebuild possible. So with around $1 million in the bank, who did we sign? First were 3 signings. A centre-back Simeon Sanev, who made his move from Paderborn permanent, and Ivan Turitsov, a right-back from CSKA Sofia. The goalkeeper Mustafa Abdullahov from Tirana and Albania came for just 180k. Stanislav Petkov from CSKA 1948 will strengthen our midfield for 650,000, and he will get a partner in Bas van den Einden from Berchat for just 180,000. As long as he delivers, he will be the best move of this window. Up front, we secured Żywo Darzyko from relegated Beroe Stara Zagora for just 160,000 and a completely free loan of Zdravko Debarliev from Botev Plovdiv. This transfer window, I think it was great. And even the bookmakers agree, predicting we'll finally finish in the top 6. But we're still under pressure of getting sacked. And what's worse, Levski Sofia are our first opponents this season. And guess how long we survived without conceding a goal? That will be about 140 seconds. And yes, we had multiple chances, only to score none of them. So as usual, we start by losing. Now thankfully we did win over Spartak Varna and Lokomotiv Sofia, so it looked like a decent start. But in a match against Botev Wraca, I found irresistible proof that our failures are 0% my fault. I mean, just watch. No. What did I just see? No. Just look. How are we meant to win the league? Basically speaking. How are we meant to win the league or do something, anything in this rebuild, when this happens? Of course, a brilliant, magnificent, fantastic start to the season. And I still don't know what to do after CSKA demolished us 5-0! Yes, so we're 10th after 8 matches. In a season with so many promises. So I had to call a team meeting and change our formation. Maybe with this 4-3-3 something will change? And turns out it kinda did, because we went undefeated in the next 6 league games. Only ignore the fact 5 of them were draws. We then had some ups and downs, with 2 losses, then 2 wins. 4-0 over Lokomotiv Sofia, we finally learned how to play football and score goals, and 3-1 over Lokomotiv Plovdiv. And then we suffered losses to Botev Wraca and Ludogorets Razgrad, with the latter also in the cup. Seriously, I don't even know what to do at this point. I was swapping formations, rotating the squad, changing instructions, but nothing was working. We clearly have some massive potential, and we're only 9th into the winter break. And I know we have to go into the mid-table group if we want to have at least some hope into the final year. And it doesn't help that we have 4 players unhappy about their playing time. And Cosentino decided that it would be very funny to cause a storm in our dressing room. I still gave him some playing time instead, because he had no good offers. I made no moves this winter, because making another rebuild will not improve our results anyway. So I decided that I'll start simulating the games instead of playing them like before and complaining at our wasted chances. Guess what? Our results improved. The only loss we suffered past the winter break was against Botev Plovdiv. We also suffered a draw against CSKA and Slavia Sofia, and added wins over CSKA 1948, Vihren, and Chernomore Varna. And this was enough to avoid the relegation group just 1 point ahead of Lokomotiv Sofia. Can you imagine the sigh of relief I had when I found that out? I was finally at peace. I could finally not stress that much, because the highest we can get is the 6th position anyway, which we did not get, but we still managed to overtake Slavia Sofia for the 7th. At the top, Ludogorets did not defend the title and Levski Sofia took the crown, just 1 point ahead of CSKA, so at least it's interesting in the top, and I genuinely hope we will be there in the final season. In the youth intake, the only interesting player was someone with great mentors, Martin Galev at central midfield. So in the 5th season, we know that unfortunately, we will not fulfill the 3rd goal of getting the European knockout, but we can still win the league title and develop our wonder kid called Stadin Akalski. If he gets into 3 stars of current ability, I will count that goal as completed. And so, there it is. We have to go all in. We have to win the title. There is simply no other option. We want to accomplish something in this rebuild, right? However, with just 110,000 euros in the budget, I made a potentially controversial call and decided not to make any transfers in this final season, unless I have to. Then I might. The only moves I did are extending the loan of Zdravko Debaliev and the Czech centre-back Adam Dochnialek, whose contract with Příbram ran out. Adam will replace Kaloyan Kostov, who went to Fratria at the end of his contract. On the deadline day, I also confirmed a loan of Živodar Žekov to Pirin in the second tier. This was literally it on the transfer market, and it means we're still predicted to finish mid-table. However, we finally had a decent start to the season. It's still shaky, but I still have to say, this is the first time in this rebuild where I believe we can achieve something. After 6 matches, we're 6th, but we're not far off from the podium places. And this general good run of form continued. We got some massive wins over the likes of Botev Plovdiv or CSK Sofia, but on the other hand, Chernomore Varna or Slavia Sofia were too strong for us. But now, it's time to find out if we're genuinely in contention for something massive this season. It's time for a match against so far invincible Ludogorets Razgrad. Loses possession to Jordanov, although I think he was fouled. Mikhailov finds Eric Bilej, who's unstoppable against us. Nikolov loses the header, but we've got Joku, Akalski. Nikolov has a chance. Akalski with an equalizer. We get it to Debaliev on the left, who makes a cross. Nikolov has a chance. We've taken the lead over Ludogorets. Actually did it. We're the first team to beat Ludogorets Razgrad this season. Wow. We finally won against the biggest club in Bulgaria. And what's more, we did it in style. Now, unfortunately, it didn't start a great run of form. We were consistently inconsistent nearing the winter break. We could achieve great wins over Lokomotiv or Septemvri Sofia, but at the same time, we bottled a 3-1 win over Lokomotiv Plovdiv and let them win that match. Honestly, with dump losses like that, we cannot expect to be involved in a title fight. Coming into the winter break, we're 6th, not far away from the championship group, but honestly, the title ambitions may be over. In the winter transfer window, we only said goodbye to Denis Shostak, who returns to Ukraine. We also loaned out Viktor Valkov to Romania, and that was it. Oh wait. Botev Plovdiv decided to recall Debaliev. So the question here is, can we somehow sneak into the championship group? We returned to action with a game against CSK Sofia, and we won 3-2 over them, despite the fact they came back from a 2-0 deficit. Against Botev Plovdiv, the right back Ivan Turitsov gave us a winning goal, and we didn't stop there with another win, this time over the title challengers Chernomore Varna. We kept it cool against rock bottom Beroe Stara Zagora, and with 2 matches left in the regular season, on goal difference, we were in the championship group slot. We just have to win the 2 final games to get there. Against Slavia Sofia, we achieved a convincing 3-0 win, with Georgi Nikolov scoring a brace. This means, for the first time, we can actually enter Bulgaria's top 4. CSK Sofia also got their win against Beroe Stara Zagora. This means, to guarantee our place among Bulgaria's best, we just have to win against Ludogorets Razgrad. Petkov, fantastic ball to Stoichev on the right wing. He makes a pass to Akalski. Akalski with a strike. Nikolov has the ball. Back to Jordanov. Petkov with a strike, hits the crossbar. Konstantino. Nikolov gets the ball. Nikolov has been stopped by the keeper. Stoichev gets the ball, finds Akalski, who can make it a tap-in. The keeper somehow saves it. Petkov to Joku. Joku can shoot from distance. Petkov makes a strike! Nearing the end of the regular season, we had a streak so great, I started to quietly believe in the title. And rightly so, because we are only 7 points behind and would have 6 games to play. But it looks like, out of the 3 goals we set ourselves for this rebuild, we will accomplish none of them. We did not even develop Akalski to the first team level, so for this rebuild it's a 0 out of 3. We did not qualify to the championship group, which means we no longer have a chance of winning the title. We are thrown into the second phase instead. At least this one went well. We comfortably secured 5th place in the league, and will play 3rd CSK Sofia for the European slot. But who won? That will be Ludogorets Razgrad, who only finished 2 points in front of Chernomore Varna. At least we won something else. The top scorer award, as Georgi Nikolov scored 17 goals this season. But now it's time for the final match, the playoff against CSK Sofia, which could be a form of revenge for the fact they took the championship group place from us. Godoy gets the ball in the penalty area, gets past our defender, and scores a goal. Still on the right wing, with a pass to Berna. Berna gets past 2 defenders at 1 go. His shot only lands in the hands of the goalkeeper. Berna heads it away to Akalski. Akalski can now launch a counter. He's been a reliable youngster in this save. Now makes a long pass to Konstantino. Konstantino gets past the defender. Has a chance. Jordanov Big cross to the near post. It's been cleared, but Jordanov gets the ball back. Yet another cross. Marinov heads it in. We still have a chance. Just like CSK, none of us want the extra time. None of us want the penalties. Their hit is Demir. Shinyashiki on the left side. Pass it to Demir, who makes a pass to Marinov. Marinov! 92nd minute winner, and Arda Kardzhali in our final match of this rebuild will qualify for the Europa Conference League qualifying rounds. We end this campaign in the league on a high note. We did not win the title in any of the 5 seasons. We were not even close apart from maybe this season. But overall, fantastic campaign. We finished 5th. We qualified for Europe as well. I started this video with a simple question. What is the most underrated league in Football Manager? The most popular answers were Portugal, Belgium, any Scandinavian league or Poland. But I had another idea. I went to Bulgaria instead. And I hope this video proved that this league is truly underrated and worth trying in this game. But before we finish this video, there is one more competition we're playing in. The competition that could save this rebuild, the Bulgarian Cup. In the previous 4 seasons, we never went past the second round, losing to random lower tier sides or Ludogorets. But this year is quite different. We got an easier draw this time around, but still made things hard for ourselves. The win over Chernomorets Baltic was a comfortable one, but against Minior Pernik, we only won in extra time, and against Dobrudza, it went down to the penalty shootout. Thankfully, after 7 spot kicks, we claimed the victory, and therefore the cup semi-final. In this stage, we will no longer meet the easy opponents. And also, this is the only stage where we'll play 2 matches. We will play those 2 matches against Levski Sofia. Bangare to Maicon, it's not looking good. Levski Sofia have a big chance. Everton Baja gets past our defender. Makes a pass back to Kovacev. Back to Berna. Costantino gets the chance. Faustino gets the ball to Fernandes. And unfortunately, Levski Sofia finally found their way. Sangare has a chance and only hits the side netting. Before the second match, disaster struck. Our star player, Sviatoslav Kovacev, broke his leg, and we'll not see him in this video anymore. Without our star winger, can we still find a way to come back? Asen Mitkov, Makun, Mitkov, Sangare to Maicon. Brilliant first touch, unfortunately Mustafa again. Because Sola has a corner for Levski. And Borzhinov, it's over. It's over. Thankfully it's not a penalty, even though there was a call for that one. Maicon, Sola, Everton Baja. And that's 4. Now you have a chance to make it round down the right wing, Marinov. Good job. Keep going. Keep going. Good. And it's a tap-in for Berna. We had a genuine chance of winning a trophy in the final season. We had a chance to end this rebuild on a high. But it looks like the big 3 of Ludogorets, Levski and CSKA, always knew how to stop us. Alongside half of the teams, especially during the 3rd season. However, I still hope I proved that the Bulgarian league is underrated and you should give it a go for your next Football Manager save. I also hope you enjoyed this video. If that's the case, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be very grateful for that. Also, this is not the first time I'm managing in Bulgaria. In the Ultimate Glory Hunter Challenge, I also went there, to Botev Plovdiv to be exact. How did my first adventure go? Check out the video that is on your screen right now.